I was taught early on when I was doing the stuff with Michael Karpenko, a trainer. He's like, if you can do anything to hold yourself accountable, do it. And so I share my results, and I always try to put something positive with it, but I do share because even if I have a sucky ride, I'll be like, man, the legs just weren't there today. Or I haven't been eating, well or whatnot, because you're at least sharing that and putting it out there and letting other people know, like, look, you're doing this. And, I'm showing up. I'm just showing up. And that's the part of it is just get your clothes on to work out, and the rest is cake. But that's the hard part, is sometimes just showing up for it.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 261. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hey, welcome back from Los Angeles.
Hi.
Hi. We have talked to each other since you've returned from Los Angeles.
I would hope.
We should point out.
Yeah.
Anybody that might be tracking or sussed out when we record versus when you get back. People will be like, what is wrong?
I mean, yeah,
they haven't talked to each other.
That would be a fair question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been busy, but
Yeah.
we at least have time to talk.
Totally. So, but looks like you had a really good time.
I did have a really good time.
You got to finally meet Dr. Jenn.
I did. It was so lovely. We hung out, we chatted, we talked Peloton, we talked Peloton instructors.
You got to see the top of each other's face.
Yeah. Special COVID times.
Yeah, totally.
No, it's so good to see her in person. In my head, she's like 6 feet tall. So that took some adjustment because she's shorter than I am, which makes sense because she's a gymnast in her past profession. So of course she is tiny and petite, but like she always wears these giant heels in the show. And that's like what I have her for in my head. It's like the show.
And they normally film from certain angles. So people look more, everybody kind of looks uniform.
Exactly.
From a height standpoint. Because, because I would have thought the same thing. But as soon as you said it, I did the same thing. I was like, oh, she was a gymnast. So yeah, you don't see a lot of tall gymnasts.
Yes.
That tends to kill a gymnastics career.
It does.
So, but you still were getting your runs in.
Yes, I got to meet Christina Sandifer, and I'm not going to say her name correctly, her leaderboard name correctly. It's
Christina.
No, it's Kakoa Christina. It's a Hawaiian term that means freedom. But we went for a 7 mile, started out as a run, ended up as a walk on the beach kind of thing. And it
transitioned from like a run to a walk to a pub crawl?
No, no drinking was had the entire weekend. I really wanted to stay on plan, and I did.
Yeah.
I was very good. There was one small cheat. That was my favorite. I took that for you, Tom.
Yes, I see that.
Christina wanted me to take that pic. Well, actually, she pointed it out, and she was like, "Oh, Tom would get a kick out of this."
For people that are watching the YouTube channel, it's a picture of shorts on. What is this?
This was in Venice Beach.
Venice Beach, and it says on the butt of the short of girl shorts, "It ain't gonna spank itself," which is technically accurate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, we had so much fun. We did 7 miles, like I said, and we just chatted the whole time. Like we were just little chat boxes, boxes. It was so fun, and it was gorgeous. 72 degrees. It was actually a little chilly. It felt amazing.
Oh, look at that! And then the reason you made your trip out there was to go to the Thrive Cosmetics event with the U2 crew.
Yes. And
you get 2 crew. Sorry.
You get 2 crew. That's exactly right. And so Carissa Bodner is the owner of Thrive Cosmetics. And I have to give a shout out to Coco Loco, also Nicole Berbiak. I'm probably not saying her last name correctly because you know me and names, but it's Coco Loco. That's how everybody knows her. And she is the one that basically coordinated the whole event. It was fabulous. Okay, so I mean, I love Thrive Cosmetics. I think that what they do there is amazing, and I got to see so many people that I've never met. I met Jessica Minardi in in real life. I met Michelle Brookman in real life. I met a whole bunch of ladies, like San Diego girl from I've never met him because they're on the West Coast. There's no meetups on the West Coast. So this was fabulous. And I got to meet Carissa Bodner, the owner. So that was so cool. It was a great time. Everybody had so much fun, and nobody wanted it to end.
Totally.
So.
Well, you had one last meetup. You got to meet Kate from Tonal.
I did. Oh my gosh, my heart. Like this has been a long time to make. We've tried to meet up so many times and it hasn't worked. And so this was exciting. I mean, literal squeals when we saw each other in the restaurant. We were that obnoxious people, that group, you know, the one that's like, yeah, I literally squeed in the middle of a restaurant very loudly. And I got to meet Kate's fiance, Morgan. It was so fun. So freaking fun. And I stopped by the Century City store and I got to meet Danny. And Danny is one of the best employees at Peloton. He told me all kinds of interesting little tidbits about the store and the area. He also makes sure that all of the people in the Beverly Hills area are taken care of.
That sounds high maintenance.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, he's just a blast. So if you get a chance, you ever stop in the Century City store, you got to stop in and see Danny. And by the way, he is willing to take orders from anywhere in the country. Don't forget, order from the store, not online, because you're making sure these people have their commission. So that is super important. By the way, one of the most interesting things I learned this weekend about Peloton, one, guess what? You can no longer get your bike exchanged. It ended this week.
Oh.
We're ending it. So it's over. You can no longer trade in your regular bike for a Bike Plus. Also, if you do decide, hey, I would like to get new equipment, so I want to get a new tread, I want to get a new bike, I want to get a new Bike Plus, go to the store, because guess what? $200 off of accessories. You can't get that deal anywhere else, only in store. They're not allowed to post about it, guys, so make sure that you go and share to everybody. Get the money.
But you're not a Peloton employee.
I'm not a Peloton employee. They don't pay me anything.
What can they do to you?
Nothing. What are they going to do? Get mad at me? Oh, well. Yeah. I mean, I love Peloton, don't get me wrong, but I also love the Peloton employees.
Yes.
So I gotta spread the love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So and
that lasts till June 12th, by the way.
Gotcha. And if anybody's wondering, I stayed at home, took care of the kids. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I do every time you're off gallivanting.
I go for work.
Oh, well, so you don't consider the podcast work?
Well, it's like a.
Explain, Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
There's work involved. But
this is delicate for you. I feel like you might have dug a hole.
You turned
the tip
it into
of your
work.
nose is getting pink, so I know I got you.
Well, I just got done tonaling, so there's that. So what, pray tell, do you have on the show this week for people?
Well, we're going to chat with Dr. Jenn. She is back. We're going to talk about negative self-talk, how to stop it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I so wanted to call the segment "How to Stop Negative Self-Talk, You Whiny Little Bitch." But I was afraid not everyone would hear my tone.
Yeah, that's probably true. And then Angelo stops by and we talk about how to make meal prep a priority. We also have a visit from the Peloton Prophet, which we have not heard from a while.
It's been a bit.
It has.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of news just about Peloton in general. There's lots of instructor sightings and details we need to get out and tell everybody about. We have a new instructor to talk about. So much. There's so much happening.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That's always nice to see. And you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. You can sign up for our mailing list at theclipout.com, where we send you all the links and things in a weekly digest, because we know we throw a bunch at you. And if you want to go track something down and read it for yourself, you can do that via the newsletter. And finally, if you would like to watch these episodes, you can do that at youtube.com/theclipout. Maybe you want to watch this week's, because we're interviewing Mark Steinis from Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah,
how fun
so
is that?
Cool. So cool.
It's actually somebody you've probably seen on your TV before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Run, lift, and live with John Mills.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is John Mills from Run, Lift, Live. Hey, John, how's it going?
How's it going?
There it is.
My windup is quicker.
It is. And your grandpa's shark shirt is back.
Yeah, I
Love
got
it.
it back.
Love it.
I made sure it was down here and it was clean.
Ah.
Gotta be clean.
Yes.
Well, we don't care. We're on Zoom.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known.
You guys wouldn't know anyway,
No,
right?
we wouldn't.
Nah, I'm gonna stay with the standards though. It gotta be clean.
This is why sometimes we come and work out and then record and you don't know because you don't smell us.
Good point. But I'm gonna stick with it though.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you can't go bad having a clean shirt. That's just never a bad thing. Never.
That's right. Okay, that's cool. And even if it wasn't clean, I wouldn't let you.
There you go. That's one of those lie at all costs. Deny, deny, deny.
That's right.
So I guess let's just jump in.
Sure.
So you had an interesting video this week about Peloton hinting at rep counting for the guide.
Which, by the way, I've heard this for a long time from the Peloton Prophet that this is happening. So that jives with what you're saying.
Well, it's interesting because it's clear that in this session that they had during homecoming, it was about like, what is the guide? How do they design the guide? What does it do? And it was very clear to me that they were trying to sell the idea that it's going to improve over time, and that what we as a community are asking for is coming. Because the engineer here that's kind of talking to all this is he said it twice, like, these things are coming. And he says it in reference to how they're going to be managing the AI to and in identifying what it is you're doing. It's like clear he's talking about rep counting. So it was interesting. It was nice to hear. I think that's awesome, that it's coming. I was still of the mind that, wow, I mean, why don't we have that now? But it's all good. It's
I think that it's also important to note that while rep counting is coming, form correction is not. Right. And I feel like that's, yes, I definitely know that the Peloton guide is going to continue to evolve and get better. So that's awesome. Right. I agree with you. But I think that it is important to note that right now, at least, there is no like form correction that is on the roadmap. And apparently, from what I've heard, one of the reasons that it takes a while is because they have to build this library of moves, and then each move has to have the rep counting added to it based on what the camera sees. So it's very heavily there's a lot of programming time that goes into it. So I think that might be one of the reasons that it's not there now.
Makes sense, and I'm really interested in seeing it though. It's a feature that of course we've all been saying for a long time, based on the fact that all the players in the space tend to have something like that. And for another reason, I've heard a lot. Some individuals will say, "Well, what do you call that thing? The little teardrop?
Yeah, little sweat guy. That's what."
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say it's either not filling up, or I'm not sure. It's not supposed to be you going faster that would cause it to fill up. But I've heard folks say, well, I start going faster because I want it to fill up. There's all these questions about that item. And in my mind, if you just had reps counting, even if you kept it, right? If you had reps counting, you would have your answer. Like
you definitely would.
Then that's why it's not moving. And if it counted the rep, then you know why it's moving. Like there would be like a clear identification of what's going on with that, I don't know what the name of it. I don't know why my mind can't remember the name of this. But that's why I think rep counting is kind of an important thing. So
the movement tracker. Movement tracker.
There it is. The movement tracker.
I had to search the files.
Yes, I could see. You were staring up at the ceiling. I was like, is something? Do we have a leaky pipe? What's going on?
He started doing the Neo blink, and I knew it was coming.
I was going through. That was me sorting. I was like, no, it's not that one. No, get back in there.
Yeah, but since in talking about this thing in my group, I thought everyone kind of had a similar thought as me, right? And for the most part. Lately, I have a bunch of people, like one person says, I love the movement tracker. I love the guy. And then people came along like, they needed that first person to say that. And now there's just a bunch of people that are going, yeah. But now I'm like, okay, like I got to make sure that we're being inclusive here. Like, okay, there's this whole contingent of people that love it, and it helps them, inspires them to do more and finish. So
yeah.
So, I gotta kind of acknowledge that, right?
Absolutely. And I've been hearing that since the beginning. There are people that absolutely love it.
Right.
And it's like, I kind of just think it comes from what you're used to and what works. And I think it's a good reminder that there's not one solution for everybody or everything.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
to me, I would much rather use tonal because of all the things it does for me. I don't have to think.
Right.
I just show up and it does the things, and I love that. But some people, like, they don't like the way that they teach the classes, so they end up not using it, and that just like boggles the mind, right? But I think that then you have somebody like yourself, like you prefer iron, like you prefer the old school lifting. The tonal really doesn't seem to do much for you. Not like you're against it, but it just doesn't excite you in the same way.
Right. And I'm like trying to like foster this inclusive kind of conversation, constantly. And every once in a while I'll get these topics that you realize that, there are a contingent of people that are talking about one side of it, and the other folks are now a little intimidated to kind of offer their position. I don't want that. Like, we're trying to have a collaborative conversation. Nobody's going to down anybody's position. So that kind of happened with this. One person said it, and then a bunch of people are like, we love this guy thing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, let's talk about that. Kind of like an eye opener. Yeah.
I think it's certainly more appealing with the price point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And if like the tonal is its own complete workout system where the guide isn't, and I don't feel, and is really designed to be. It's designed to be to complement a bike or a tread, or theoretically a rower, and so when viewed through that prism, and I think that's where people are coming around on it. They're like, okay, it's not a $2,000 piece of equipment, and it's something I use in conjunction with this other thing, and people are starting to kind of manage their expectations with it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's definitely a different way of thinking. Yeah. It is. Yeah. So I am.
And I know I'm kind of like dinosaur with it. My tastes just aren't the standard. Like, and I got it. They just aren't. Like, so when we talk about like tonal or the guide or even the boot camp classes, they don't align to my kind of historic kind of path in the strength training arena that go back to the 70s and are related to like intimate settings with with family members, there with me in these old rusted out Gold's gyms, right? Like,
you're still drinking raw eggs and running up the stairs of the Philadelphia Art Museum.
Okay, John, I gotta say, as a person who has recently like completed my personal training certificate, they have changed things a bit. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing it out. You might want to refresh. That's just a little bit.
You hear people talk a lot about like staying in a fitness regimen. You got to be enjoying it, right?
Yeah,
like,
you do.
If you're not, you're probably going to fall.
Yep.
So I've kind of stuck with that paradigm, that thought. So that if you stick with that, you're probably going to continue it. That is so enjoyable to me, and it's so nostalgic to me that if I'm not going to let that go.
No,
right.
If that's what keeps you coming back, then that's what you do. Like, that makes sense. Yeah, right. I don't blame you.
But I recognize like I'm a far outlier. Like, I just accept that.
No,
I'm like
I have to say,
outlier.
I have to say, I don't think that you are as much of an outlier as you think. There are a lot of people that look at tonal, especially with an eyebrow raised.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like my iron.
And I blame Bowflex.
That's fair.
Because I think a lot of people look at it and they think it's like a Bowflex thing, and it's just like, no, I'm not doing that.
You remember the Total Gym, the Chuck Norris thing, I think they think of it like that too. Because like, I tried to get my parents to buy a tonal. Like, I was going to buy a tonal for my dad for like a present, and like, he was like, no, I want a Total Gym. It broke my heart to buy that thing for him.
She was like, Tom, you need to order this.
I can't order it. I cannot hit the button.
I can't bring myself to do it.
It's just, it kills me. It kills me.
So while we're talking about the guide, Bob Tremore, we haven't talked about him in a little bit. He had an interesting post, a tweet, where he's just been kind of tracking the numbers.
Yeah. It is interesting. Yeah. So he says that 2 months after the guide went online, there have now been 5,000 workouts. So he's kind of been tracking it. So 4/11 at 5 p.m., they had been online for 6 hours. There were 100 workouts. And then on 4/12, the next day, 36 hours later, 500. 73 hours later, there were 1,000. And now 2 months later, 50 days, 5,000 workouts. Thoughts?
I think that's, well, I don't know how many guides have been sold. So I don't know how to marry that to how often people are actually using the product. But the number in totality sounds like a decent number. Right?
It's interesting. I'm not sure because think about a bike class. You could have 5,000 people on one class.
I guess yeah, you're right.
I'm not sure. But on the other hand, you shouldn't be necessarily working out every day on the guide.
Especially that's a really good point. If it's designed to augment workouts, it's not something that you're going to do as frequently as the bike theoretically.
Right. So I think it's an interesting yardstick. I don't know how much we can, really pull out of this without, like you said, John, knowing, is this based on 500 units sold? Is this based on 500,000 units sold? I mean, those are two very big differences. And a lot of people just bought it. They just bought it because it was cheap. And they're like, yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean.
There's probably some that are still sitting in a box and they're like, well, for that price, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it through that prism. I was thinking to get to bike numbers. I mean, Tread is still trying to get the bike numbers. And so they struggled for a while as well. So I just was kind of looking at it through that prism. So I don't know, you're right. I don't know how to gauge that. If I knew how many units they had sold and then could compare it to that number, I think, I might have a deeper opinion, but I don't know not sure what that means.
So do I understand these right? That's 5,000 at 50 days. That's how many total workouts have been done on the guide platform?
Yes.
Okay. I just making sure I was comprehending that properly.
Yeah.
Hey, we have better numbers in the guide.
Well,
that's numbers taken on the guide platform. Oh, yeah, because it wouldn't matter if they were taking content that wasn't exclusive to
Well, I have to say, this is the first guide exclusive class that he's tracking, not all classes. I needed to clarify that. My bad. Sorry. One class.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad.
No, I don't either.
Pretty good.
I wonder how many of those are people that took the hack workaround.
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, because it's once you have the link in your history, it's so easy to get. Anybody can get it. It's not difficult. I don't know. That's a good question.
Didn't they just drop those? Didn't some of the floor boot camps or something just drop?
The floor boot camps did, yeah. And I've been hearing about them all day because I talk to so many clients that do Peloton. For MetPro for my day job, I talk to so many people that do Peloton, and all day it's been a buzz about the floor boot camps. So yeah, everybody is like, oh, I'm so excited to take them. So yeah,
I definitely feel like the reaction to the guide is getting much better than we thought it was going to be at first. Yeah. So I think the more that get into the marketplace, I think the greater success they'll have long term.
It's certainly not something we can say is a big fail. I don't think.
I concur.
Yeah.
That's the impression I'm getting now. It's spinning on me. I'm having to spin.
Hey, that's nice. It's been a little bit since Peloton had something that, they kind of turned it around, right?
Yeah.
People at first were like, what's the point of this? And now as more people get it, they're really singing its praises. So credit where credit is due.
Yeah. A positive Peloton story.
Yes.
Woo!
You can at me about that.
At us.
Yes. In different news, you had an interesting post that someone...
Ariel Brockwell posted this in the Run, Lift, and Live group.
That Peloton has these special meetups for Chase Sapphire Cardholders.
Yeah, I thought this was funny. I've seen this other places, but I couldn't remember where. So I'm glad you pulled this up because then we can talk about it because I kept forgetting. So it has to be a Chase Sapphire Reserve, and there's only 3 of them listed, all on June 2nd, all sold out. But there is a wait list available for one of. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 of them are not sold out. One of them is sold out. The New York City one, of course.
Of course.
So,
but the instructors aren't actually going to be there. It's a virtual.
Oh yeah.
It's a virtual. Like you go to the store in real life, you hang out with other people, but then the instructor engagement, which I think was Rad Lopez.
Oh, okay.
That is done virtually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw those as 2 distinct things. If I'm quoting this right, like the Peloton apparel kind of launch party thing, and then this ability to kind of do like that virtual meetup with Rad. Like I thought those were 2 distinct things.
Oh, are they? Okay.
You have the card, but hopefully I'm saying that right. That's how I read it. But either way, when I saw this posted, the first thing I thought, I didn't realize it was like the exclusive thing. So I was like, how come I've never heard of this? How do I get into this thing? I want in New York. That's not too far. Or Virginia, I might consider going there. And that's when Ariel was like, well, John, you have to have one of these cards. Oh, see, you got to have a Chase Sapphire card.
But this is interesting because like last week we talked about the fact that there are, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about the fact that there are special badges that are for certain corporations. And now we're hearing about these special parties for certain corporations. This is interesting. Like what happened to taking care of the OG members? What is that about? Come on.
And then I hear you.
Well,
so
maybe
then I
the
go
OG
back and
members.
look, and of course,
maybe the OG members have Sapphire cards.
Well, I guess, I mean, you have to if you wanted to be included.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be at this. So then I go back and look. Of course, I mean, they said this all along, right? There were going to be like special offers to people who actually got this card and special discount on purchases of the bike or the, any connected fitness equipment and some discount off on your membership if you have this card. I mean, they said this stuff. But it was kind of oblivious because, nobody's telling me about it. I guess not because I don't have a car. So
well, it was vague. It's like
kind of
if you had known from day one they were going to do this and they had said, we're going to do this specific thing, that might have encouraged you to buy the card. But just this vague promise of like something we might do in the future, it's kind of hard to get too excited about that.
Well, they probably didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But that's my point.
But I saw someone post in the comments on your page, John, that they really didn't even make it known that it was like there's a page for just general offers,
rewards.
like Citibank, like we have a Citi card, and like they have something like that, and but like they didn't really push it out. They just were like logged in to see like, oh, what other things do they have for me? And here was this Peloton stuff sitting there that they, that the person would have been into but didn't know about.
So now that has me thinking now, if my reaction was, oh, let me go sign up before they're all sold out. If that was my reaction, are other people going, I might need to go get this Chase Sapphire?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I definitely think so. Yeah, because the second people found out that the guide had exclusive content for 7 weeks, people were like, well, now I got to get the guide. Myself included.
Right.
Like I include myself, right? So yeah, you tell people you can have this special thing, but then now you get the card, you can't go to it because it's going to be sold out. So then what? You just hope that next year they're going to do something else again? Because now, you know what I mean? Because
it all kind of ends June 22nd, right? And then it's the next, got to hope for the next season or
exactly.
Something happens. But I did go look. I can't lie. When Ariel said all this, I did go to the Chase website. Maybe I think about this. I did do that.
Did you get the card?
I didn't get the card, but I did go to the site.
Did Erica say no?
That far.
Is that why you didn't get it? Because Erica said no.
Well, Erica would have said no. And so, I'm a little slow. So it took me to get to the site, and then Erica's gonna say no, and then I backed.
Cooler heads prevail.
Shoo!
Yeah,
that was close. That was close, John.
Yeah, it was close though. It was close. That almost happened to me with something else. I was about to buy this mixer board the other day, and Erica's been asking for the step mill, and I was about to spend a lot of money for this mixer, and then I realized that if I bring this home, the next question is going to be step mill. So then I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
Also look at the Zoom boards. You don't need to spend a ton. You really don't.
Okay.
All
right. I'll look at that.
Okay.
Yeah. We can give you some tips. There's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, we can chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I get all nostalgic with technical stuff too. Like I bought this Tascam board back in 91. So now I'm looking at only Tascam stuff now. Like, I probably shouldn't do that.
No,
you
you
get
really
nostalgic.
shouldn't. The thing is, for what you're doing right now, unless you're also doing music, like if you're doing audio, it's a totally different world. I don't want to bore everybody listening, but like, you don't want to focus just on what you did before, because the whole podcast thing has completely changed all of the boards.
It changed everything, right?
It has.
Yeah, I probably should. Yeah. So you see, I saved myself, and then you guys concur that I was right.
That was us reeling you in, not me flipping you off. I was reeling you back in, just to be clear.
You just print it out and like leave it in places around the house, because Father's Day is just around the corner.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Reminds me of that Self magazine article on the best Father's Day gifts, and the first thing on the list was like some bedroom phantom light. Like, who makes these lists? And then, like later on in it, it has like a cushiony bed cover. Like, did Erica send them this list?
Yeah, that sounds like a Mother's Day list, not a Father's Day list.
Magazine. Who's their writer? Right, and way down at number 43 was a Meta. What the 3D? What is that?
VR.
The VR, the Oculus thing.
goggles.
Yeah.
That's way down at 43.
You're like, I would have put that at number 3, not 43.
And then it had like some almond milk maker at like number 8.
What?
Like, who are these people?
I think this was their Mother's Day list, and they tried to reuse it.
Yeah, they just got lazy. This is like the equivalent of like when a guy buys the wife a blender.
Yeah.
Like that's
right.
This is something you'll use, honey.
Yeah.
No.
Happy Valentine's Day. I bought you lingerie. Wait.
Tonal was number 2, though. Tonal was number 2. They
Okay.
got that one right. That's one they got right.
I will agree with that.
I'm glad. Thank God it beat out the almond maker. Or almond milker.
Yeah, almond milk maker.
Just picture trying to milk a little almond.
No, honey.
That would be really difficult.
No, you guys.
Reminds me of a day I was at this. My brother-in-law has been in the Navy for many. He's retired now, but he had been in the Navy for many years. We were out to lunch one day with my sister, and he starts talking in this naval terminology about like when someone is drowning, and he says, "Well, we throw them a rubber ducky," and I'm going. My mind's thinking of like the little bathtub rubber duckies, and they see my eyes doing like this, and they're like, "John, are you thinking of an actual rubber ducky?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, you said like, rubber ducky.
You said rubber ducky.
You're like, now I got the Sesame Street song stuck in my head.
Rubber ducky, you're the one.
Don't sing too much more. We'll have to pay for it.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
We don't got that kind
They've
of money.
been laughing at me for years for the look on my face, because I literally was thinking of a rubber duck.
That's okay. When I was like 7, my dad wanted me to do something, and I said I'm not mechanically inclined. I still hear about it to this day.
Yeah. Well, didn't he ask you to hand him a wrench, and you handed him like a screwdriver or
Probably.
something?
I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not mechanically inclined. I wasn't wrong. I'm still not.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was like some weird Abbott and Costello routine. No matter what he asked for, I would hand him a screwdriver, unless he asked for a screwdriver.
Unless he asked for a screwdriver.
Yeah. And I'd be like, socket wrench? I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, can you just get to the part where you yell at me and I get to go inside? There's something on TV.
Get inside.
Yeah. We got cable now. Let's go. Well, John, thank you very much for joining us. Until next week, where can people find you?
They can find me on my Facebook grouper page, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on Instagram, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on the Tickety Talk, Run, Lift, and Live. Or they can find me at Run, Lift, and Live, or Run, Lift, Live. I got both now. RunLiftLive.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube, it's Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hello. We have another person in need of some help. This question comes from Shannon Burrows Campbell. She says that her brain stops her from being her best self, and so does her fork. She says, in all seriousness, fitness injuries can be a sideliner pretty quick and can last a long time. Help.
And did she clarify at all what she meant by that she is... How did you put it? She's her own worst enemy?
Yeah, basically, her brain stops her from being her best self, and so does her fork. And she did not clarify.
Okay. So I'm going to assume that what she means is that she has a lot of negative self-talk.
I would assume that as well.
And that ends up derailing her, and that she's probably in that cycle of you feel bad about yourself, and then you eat because you're trying to self-soothe. And then you end up feeling bad that you ate something. And then you eat because you ate something that made you feel bad. And you get into that diet mentality of like, oh, I was bad. And so then you kind of just have this loop, this constant loop of I feel bad, I eat, and then I make myself feel bad about it, and then I feel worse, and then you just kind of go in circles.
Yeah.
So the key to that, if that is what's going on for her, is to break that cycle and to start looking at the food that she's eating that is upsetting her differently. And, typically when we get in that cycle, we're kind of bingey, that if we're overeating or binging. And what I want to encourage her to do is to look at the binging or overeating differently. And that what we tend to do in that situation is you overeat, and then the next morning you go, oh, I was so bad. I hate myself. I can't believe I ate these things. Today, I'm going to starve myself. I got to make up for yesterday. Today is a new day. I'm going to be good today. So the first thing I want to change in that thinking is that when you have overeaten or binged, it is a cry for help in some way, shape, or form. What it means is you're turning to food to soothe yourself, that there's something going on that you're not able to deal with, that you don't have the tools for, that you are having a lot of feelings that maybe you're trying to push down. So instead of meeting that binge with anger and hostility and negative self-talk, I encourage people to meet that with compassion. Which is probably the hardest thing you can ever do.
Yeah, when you're feeling like that, the last thing that you can do is be nice to yourself. You're really mad at yourself for feeling that way. You feel betrayed by your own brain. It's not cool.
But at the same time, if you had a girlfriend who called you up and was like, I screwed up at work today and I feel so terrible, you wouldn't be like, you stupid bitch. What did you do? I can't believe you screwed up like that. But we do that to ourselves. Instead, you should be talking to yourself and going, okay, it sounded like I really needed something that I wasn't able to provide for myself. It sounds like I'm having a hard time. What do I need now to feel better? And instead of starving yourself, what I encourage you to do is just wait till you're hungry for your next meal. And start to honor your body more. Because when we binge, we're not honoring our body. We're stuffing things into it that it doesn't want. And so if you can instead say, okay, I'm going to honor my body by waiting until I'm hungry for my next meal. And I'm going to ask myself, what do I really want? What would make my body feel good right now? And sometimes the answer is steamed broccoli. Like sometimes the answer is, I ate so heavy yesterday. If you're really listening to your body may want something lighter, because our bodies are wise. And we underestimate how wise they are when we're really tuned into them. And that the more we honor our body, the more we respect our body, both philosophically and in action, the more likely we are to make choices that are consistent with what our body wants and needs. I believe that when we really tune into our body says, like, you'll have certain food craves. Oh, like when I was pregnant, I crave, and I normally hate tomato juice. Can't stand it. But when I was pregnant, craved it constantly. I think I needed the vitamin A. And when I listen to my body on a day-to-day basis, my body will tell me exactly what it needs, because I've been doing this for decades. As you guys know, I'm someone who's recovered from an eating disorder. I'm an intuitive eater. I follow that model. So I really tune in and I always ask myself, what do I want? How am I going to feel after the meal? How do I want to feel after the meal? And look, there are times where you want comfort food, where you want to feel full, where you want to feel kind of heavy and lethargic and curl up with a blanket and, be cozy. But a lot of the time you don't. A lot of the time you want to kind of feel lighter at the end of your meal and not bogged down and feel good and ready to kind of move on with your day. And so I think that she's got to change her relationship with food and also break her negative self-talk. And the best thing for that is always therapy. As you know, I always recommend that everybody have 1 year of weekly therapy. And if money is an issue, I highly recommend checking out local health clinics, mental health clinics, and also check out online, because now there are a lot of online services that you can get either free or get them as you're able to pay based on your ability to pay. And then the other thing is bibliotherapy, being able to really look at what are the issues you're struggling with, self-talk, cognitive behavioral therapy books, intuitive eating books, in order to conquer these issues.
Okay. Lots of great tools there as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And if somebody's looking for books, I'm just curious, is there a quick and easy way? Because crackpots write books too. And how,
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What's a good way is there a quick, easy way to weed out nut jobs?
Well, you know what? I always look at credentials. To me, credentials, and then I also look at reviews of what people say. And now look, there are a lot of people who pay for reviews.
Sure.
So, but when you're talking about thousands of reviews, it becomes a lot less likely. One book that I really like, it's an older book from probably like the 90s. It's called Managing Your Mind. And I really like that book because there's a lot of cognitive behavioral tips and tools that I tend to, as you guys know, I really like books that give you specifics. And that's why I write my books the way I do, is I like for readers to have specific tools and to understand kind of the background of like what the studies are that make this a good tool for them. But that book, Managing Your Mind, is a really good one.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for all that. Until next time, where can people find you?
On all social media at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man, and also In Style magazine online. I have a column called Hump Day with Dr. Jenn that I answer people's questions all about relationships and sex.
New instructors.
We have a new instructor.
We do. Logan Aldridge joins the team. Congratulations to Logan. People have been waiting for this for so long. I mean, was this last year we talked about this?
It seems like it.
So
yeah.
He's been a consultant for adaptability, programming for Peloton for quite a while. I think it was a year. And now he has officially joined as an instructor. We knew it was coming, but it's so exciting to see. And it's really inspiring to watch him work out how he adapts things. Like, he makes it look so easy.
I mean, here, and the video we have running, he's doing push-ups with one arm. I can't do them with 2.
That's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, he makes this look so easy, and he has one arm while he's doing a push-up, and I'm like struggling with 2. I mean, it's just really inspiring. And he's also really funny. And I really appreciate his video and how he's very him in the video. So I'm looking forward to taking his classes, and I think that he is going to be an excellent instructor, and I'm very much looking forward to the addition to the team. And if you haven't seen it, classes did drop today. So you can go, there are already on-demand classes that you can take.
Instructors in the news.
So you're probably already aware of this by now, but Becs Gentry is with child.
She is. It was such a fun video that she did last week. I shared it on social media that she did live during the class, and she talked about how November was this November, instead of the New York City Marathon, it was going to be a different marathon, a different finish line she was crossing. And she said this time there will be 3, and her well, I guess they're not engaged. So her boyfriend, her partner, will be waiting for her at the finish line and going through the finish line with her. And so a lot of people had thought, because they saw rings on her finger, that she must be engaged. And she was like, no,
it's a photo
actually,
that got flipped.
The photo got flipped. And so it's the same rings that I always wear. Austin and I are not engaged. So I thought that was pretty cute. She gets a kick out of all of our speculating.
Yes.
But that's exciting. Oh, I was taking a class of hers today, and she said that her and Jess King have the exact same due date.
Holy cow.
So it's going to be sometime in November. They're both going to have their babies, and it's going to be very interesting.
It's a race.
Yeah.
And we should also say that our tarot card reader,
Erica McLean,
was remarkably prescient when it came to the idea of pregnancies, and so we have been in talks with her, and she will be returning soon.
She will, and we're going to do the second half of 2022 and an early look at 2023. So it will be interesting to see what else she has to say. Lots of people have been asking for it, so she will be on very soon.
And Christine D'Ercole got married over the weekend.
Yes, and several instructors were there. Several Peloton community members were there, which is wonderful. Christine is one instructor that remembers the OGs and includes them and is very appreciative of it. And personally, I am appreciative that she does that. Like, not all the instructors do. So it's nice that she took the time and that all the people that she invited were able to go. That was really cool. Very special.
Absolutely. SourcingJournal.com has a story about fashion brands and athlete ambassadors, and within the article they mention Emma Lovewell.
Yeah, so you might remember a while back she started that collaboration with Cine Jeans.
Okay.
And it's basically jeans that are like very specific to you. They're custom made for you.
Okay.
Based on your sizing. So it's not just like size 32 or size 28 or whatever. They are made towards your specifications and the style that you are asking for. And so they talked about in this article how having her as an ambassador has been very good for their sales. So I don't feel like that's really any surprise, but I just thought it was interesting to see.
Very much so. Michelle Kay from Shape magazine sat down with Bradley Rose, where he talked about how he kind of bounced back from his stroke. Not kind of, but...
Well, he almost quit fitness. That's the whole point of the article. Back in 2019, he had a stroke, and they told him, like, you're never going to be doing fitness again. And apparently his wife was a huge part of the reason that he is back, and he is a Peloton instructor, and he is so happy because she basically was like, it's all about mindset, and like you don't have to just sit here and give up just because the doctor said this might happen. You can still try, and you can push yourself, and you can see what you can get with it. And look at him now. Look at him now. It's from April of 2019 to April of 2022. I mean, that's not a very long time.
Not at all.
So that's pretty incredible. So as usual, great article by our favorite Michelle Kay.
Yes. And also shows you the importance of picking the right wife.
Amen to that.
I've done it both ways. And, pick the right one.
Yeah, your last wife would have been like, yeah, so anyway, when are you going to die so I can get...
Yeah, she'd have been like building her Tinder profile while I was in the ER.
Are you about done? You want to wrap this up?
Denis Morton had a special salute to heart valve recipients.
Yeah, so it's interesting. What it was is this guy, I guess he's part of heart valve surgery, and he kind of has a blog that we're showing on the screen right now. So he is a huge Peloton fan. He takes classes with all the instructors. He was taking a class with Denis Morton, and he got a shout out. And then not only did he get a shout out, but Denis Morton went on to talk about heart valve surgery and how important it was, and like just gave a big shout out to heart valve surgery. So it was pretty cool. And this guy was really excited about it. So he wrote a blog, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Awesome.
You don't see a lot of little details like that, you know?
You don't. So Matty Maggiacomo has, I guess this is an Instagram live called Out Loud. Yeah,
it's going to be Out Loud with Morgan Lee, and you can submit questions, and it's all in celebration of Pride Month. So it's going to be, it's Matty, so it's going to be amazing. And, Matty used to be on TV. He's really good at interviewing people. He's really good. He's a very, very well-spoken person. So this will be a really fun Instagram live. Very cool.
Yahoo Life has an article with Tunde talking about her wellness habits.
Yeah, and so there's 5 wellness habits that she wished that she had started sooner. And, it's simple things like if she's filled with anxiety, trying to pause and surrender to that moment and just kind of letting it be, and little things like that she wishes she had been doing for a very long time. So cool article, and it might give you some tips on how to help your day go by better.
And Kendall was on a podcast called Uncut with Jay Cutler, which I assume focuses on, stories of men who haven't been circumcised.
I knew you were going to say that. I felt it. I felt it.
You felt men who haven't been circumcised?
I felt that you were going to say that.
Oh, I see.
And I was correct. So, yeah, you can check it out. I haven't listened to it, but she shares about her mental health and how she was borderline suicidal. And she also talks about how many people are on the Peloton platform and etc. So lots of good stuff. Lots of interesting little tidbits.
Peloton in the news.
Peloton has a studio reopening event scheduled for June 10th for the press only.
Yes, press only like they do for movies. So, yeah, there's 8 classes.
Except I get invited to those.
Well, we'll be in Hawaii.
That's true.
So, there's going to be 8 classes that day. And then the press gets to like choose which class they wanted to take. They're all full now. But they're going to go in and they're going to take a class, and it's just basically a brouhaha. I gotta say, like, I get why they're inviting the press, but like the people who have been on this platform forever are like, I have heard so many people complaining, like, Peloton, really? Like, do you not get what the community does? Like, they just don't seem to understand.
Yeah.
And I really am concerned about the direction of how they're kind of dismissive of it now. And it's like, you guys got to where you are because of the community. Like that is just a fact. Like it's how many, like we talked to somebody not that long ago who joined in 2014, and back then, just so people kind of get an idea of where I'm talking about how many people they brought to the platform. Okay, back then you used to get 1 free month of Peloton for however many people.
Like every time you sold a bike, that was the referral.
That was the referral.
Yeah.
So and there were no limits like there are now.
Yeah.
And this person never paid a bill up until 2 months ago, since 2014. So like when I say the community brought people on board, they brought people on board. I mean, I've gotten at least 75 people that I was given credit for, not to mention all the ones I didn't get credit for. So like, it's kind of crazy that they don't even they don't acknowledge it. I'm not saying that people who have been around a long time should be treated differently, but if you're going to make a special thing for press, it would be really cool if you remembered where you started and gave the people like Laura Pug, the first person to get 1,000 rides, all the Rosenbergs, the people that have literally been around since day one. It would be nice if you gave them a little something. Yeah.
Also, this is a good time to remind people that your price went up. That's literally in my show notes. That's the next topic. Wasn't supposed to sound quite as shitty as it did, but
you have it.
But me saying shitty things is kind of my brand.
That's true.
So we're just reminding people that the membership went up $5 a month on June 1st, which honestly it makes sense.
After all this time, it's really not that big of a deal.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's a thing.
So Barry McCarthy attended the JP Morgan conference, which I loved her on the Gong Show. She was my favorite.
Yeah, no.
It's the same one, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, gosh, it has to be.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. But he discussed customer love.
Yeah. So, I mean, not really, because. I mean, the customers love you. What do you? They love Peloton,
right?
But Peloton doesn't love them back. I mean, that's the thing. That's my point. Like the customers are what has driven this company. The customers, the community is the one that created HRI. The community is the one, and that became homecoming for people who don't know that. And so you got to remember that this started with a group of people who were so in love with the brand that they spread the word like wildfire. And so they literally, it was like a religion bringing people in.
Yeah.
And then they started the homecoming event. They started by coming to the studio. They're the ones that were like, we want to be there, even though we have this bike at home. Peloton didn't come up with that. The community is the one that started the Facebook group. Peloton didn't do that. Yeah. So when I say that the community is the one that started, it's not just based on how I feel. It's just based on facts. Like these are real things you can point to that people have done. So it would be cool that instead of talking about how customers love them, that he spent a little time sharing his love for the customers.
Yeah.
And it's just not the warm, fuzzy guy he is. So we're not going to get that.
It's
We're just not.
Not who he is. And it's ultimately not what they brought him in to do.
No, it's not. He's just focused on numbers, and that's what this will be.
Inc.com has an article about how Peloton has to get off the bike.
Yeah, they feel like Peloton has been taking too long to transform. They don't want other people to make that same mistake. But basically, it's just talking about the strategy of how Peloton has just waited too long. And I don't know that they actually waited too long. I think that they did a lot of things like the tread, and they've had this rower in production forever. But the problem is when they came up with the ideas, those ideas took forever to come to fruition for whatever reason. My understanding, there's a lot of stuff in the background we know nothing about. And I think a piece of that is what that Barry McCarthy alluded to a few weeks ago in the earnings call about the platform that the engineers use and things like that. I think that's some of it, but I think there's a whole lot more we don't have any idea about. And that's just a real shame. It really is. I really thought the stock would have kind of recovered a little bit by now, but no, it didn't. Yeah,
it's odd because it does seem like they're making a lot of decisions that the stock market people seem to want them to do, but it just seems stubbornly stuck in that $12 to $15 range. And
agreed.
And honestly, it doesn't seem to make any sense, as much as we bitch about them sometimes now.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the deal. Peloton at its core, there are many people that say this, and it's true. Like the content is what you came there for, and the love of the community. The community is still there, and the content is still great. They need more of the content, but that's a whole nother day. In general, though, what they provide is excellent content. I believe best in class.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A visit from the Peloton Prophet.
It's been a bit since we've had a visit from the Peloton Prophet.
I know, and I do not like this visit. People are not going to be happy about this. Ugh. All right.
Spill it.
All right. Okay. So a lot of you have been asking me, what is the deal with the Tread Plus? Okay, so just a little background for people who are new or just don't have a tread and they don't pay attention to this stuff. A little bit of background is that the Tread Plus was the first tread, the bigger one with the slats, came out 4 years ago this December, and it was recalled this past year, last November, because unfortunately there was a horrible death that occurred where a child was sucked underneath it. And my belief, this is my personal belief, the powers that be decided to make an example out of Peloton. And so they really stuck it to him and made him do a recall. When they made him do that recall, they said that they had to submit a redesign, and that until that redesign was done, we would not be seeing the Tread Plus. So besides that, separately, the Tread Plus you had three options. You could have your Tread Plus move to a room that was secure that you could shut and lock the door. You could then have it sent back for a full refund, assuming it was in good shape, or you could keep it and do nothing. And later, whenever they make whatever change they're making, then it would be retrofitted to your Tread Plus. Those are the three options as they occurred at the time. So this November, we have about 5.5 months left, and you can still return your Tread Plus. Well, a lot of people have been kind of waiting to hear what's going to happen with the new Tread Plus until they make that decision, including myself. Now, I have said since the beginning, what is the point of them coming out with the Tread Plus prior to November? Because if you're going to send it back, then why should they give you a new one for free?
Right.
And that's pretty much what that's what I would do if I were a business maker.
Right. It's like if there's a new one, then okay, cool. Now give me my money back and I'll go buy the new one.
Right. Right. And so they're not going to tell us anything. I mean, they might tell us something, but there is not going to be a new Tread Plus seen before November. It's not happening, according to the Peloton Prophet. According to the Peloton Prophet, we will not see this new tread until at least May of 2023. In addition to that, I was told that there was a warehouse full of Tread Pluses and they were thrown away. Now, Tom had a very interesting thought about what that could mean.
Yeah.
And this is conjecture. At this point, we are moving to conjecture completely on our part.
Was that whatever they've done to the tread, it's very, very different. It's a complete rethink of what the Tread Plus is going to look like. Because if it was something that they could just be like, here's a thing, put it on your tread, then they wouldn't need to get rid of a bunch of Tread Pluses if that is in fact accurate.
What happened.
And so that means that they've made changes to the Tread Plus that are so significant that they're like, these are unsalvageable. Get rid of them.
So just to recap, the only part of that the Peloton Prophet specifically was very clear is happening is we will not see the Tread Plus redesign until at least May of 2023. Separately, they heard, but has not been confirmed, a warehouse full of Tread Pluses was thrown away. I have no confirmation that occurred. Yep. So just want to be very clear about what we're the conjecture we are making versus actual report.
Correct.
So yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
But if you're right, Tom, just one more thing on that. If you're right, if all of those things are true, a lot of conjecture, a lot of ifs, wouldn't that mean that like the people who had them would then get it switched out with the new one? If the thing that they said at the beginning was they were going to fix the Tread Plus you already owned, if they make a fix and it's completely different and it involves an entirely new tread, doesn't that imply that you would then get a new Tread Plus at that time?
I kind of think it does.
Mm-hmm.
That they're going to need those off the market. And if they told people we're going to fix it, and, you know, I think you at least have to have a window of time where people can swap them out if they want to. I would think, you know, if there isn't an add-on that they can give you to modify the existing tread, then, and you made your decision based on that, then I would think that they would need to still let you swap it out, even though the time has passed. But you know, if not, then we will see more posts in Facebook Peloton groups from class action lawyers.
Oh yeah, there absolutely will be
to drum up work.
Yeah, and I think they'll succeed on that one.
Yeah.
And if that were to occur, and also my understanding is Peloton is still servicing Tread Pluses, and they will be even beyond November. So that's my understanding.
Which is good because I know you love yours.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I don't want it to go away. I love it.
The Clip Out.
So every week we reach out to the community and they give us questions about nutrition, and then we invite Angelo on and subject him to me, and he answers your questions. So here he is from MetPro.
It's a trade-off.
Yes, it's a small price to pay.
Thanks, Angelo.
She's like, I gotta live with him.
Well, this question is actually from two people because they both said almost the exact same thing word for word. Amanda Van Buren and Diane Fumera. They both want to know about meal prep. They know they should be doing it because it will help them not have to figure out what to do after they get home from work, but they don't enjoy it, so it tends to slip.
Yeah. Okay. Amanda, Diane, do your meal prep. And
thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. See y'all next week, folks. And so here's the best I can do. The best I can do is make a passionate plea for the value of meal prep. If you want to achieve a goal, now most people, I want to lose a few pounds, I want to tone up, I want to lean out, or I want to perform better. The single most relevant action you can take that will impact that is not your workout tomorrow, is not what you order at dinner tonight. It's a routine of meal prep, and it does not have to be cumbersome. So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to focus on lunches and snacks, or even lunch and one snack. If you can do that, and because a lot of people make it out to be a lot larger ordeal. Every one of my clients that work with me is going to meal prep. I know this because before they hire me, they tell me, you know, I played football in college, or I ran track in high school. I did this, I did that. I eat this, I did that. I like this food, I don't like that food. And I'm going to say, I'm going to stop you right there. I have one question for you. If we work together, I'm going to ask you to prepare your lunches and your snacks in advance. You do not need to eat them 100% of the time. Life happens. I get that. But as a general rule, can you follow a routine of predetermined lunches and snacks? And if they answer yes, we work together. And I know I can get results from that person. I know I can get results from that person because I have a routine to anchor to. I have levers and dials. I can't talk enough about this point. When you start a simple routine of food prepping, just lunches and snacks, breakfast is never the problem. Assuming you wake up in your own house, which is usually a good thing. That means you're not sleepwalking in the middle of the night.
It could be a good thing to wake up.
Could be a good thing.
Yeah, it's...
I just handed that one.
You did. You did.
Sometimes it's pretty nice.
He's going to pipe in there. You know what's in your house. You've shopped. You have quality food in your house. Never have I had a client that says, Angelo, I'm just so good with lunches and I'm so good with dinners. I just can't seem to get breakfast right. I never hear that. Ever. Breakfast is not the problem. Now, here's the deal. Dinner is not the problem either. Dinner is more of a reflection of the consistency of your day. If your day went something like this, I got out of bed, I was rushing, so I had a cup of coffee and a pastry. I didn't have time for lunch, so I grabbed just a bag of chips, and I haven't eaten anything until 6 o'clock at night. Let me tell you how your dinner is going to go. Not good.
Pizza.
Good.
Whatever you grab.
If you had a healthy breakfast and while you ate breakfast, you just packed a little bag, nuts, almonds, don't make it, some fruit, don't make it elaborate, something simple. And you have a little baggie for your afternoon snack. You ate a quality lunch. You had a quality afternoon snack. I can tell you that at least some of the time, you're going to find it easier to have a quality dinner. I'll go one step further. If you were to be a fly on the wall and listen in to one of our coaches having their early conversations with our clients, here's the type of conversation you'd be hearing. I know, Johnny, I'm glad you lost a few pounds. That's very good. That's excellent. But here's the deal. I don't care. What I'm interested in is, did you pack your lunch? Did you pack your snacks? Yes or no? And here's why your coach is going to be just absolutely line in the sand. You have to have that routine. That coach knows because they have been charged with helping hundreds or thousands of people before you lose weight. And what they have learned is any outcome that happens in the next week, in the next 30 days, is meaningless if there is no routine in place to anchor to and to reproduce. If we don't establish a routine, I don't care if my clients lose weight in their first week. What I care about is establishing a routine, because if there is a routine, I will get them to lose the weight they want to lose, or I will get them to the performance they want to be, or whatever that next step is. But I can't get there if there's no routine. And you guys have heard me tell the story before. I have two clients, client A, client B. Client A says, Angelo, I stuck to, I wasn't able to pack my meals. I didn't have anything prepared, but throughout the day I made good choices and I stuck to my meal plan, and I even lost a pound yesterday. Client B says, well, I prepared my lunch. I prepared my afternoon snack. I ate everything I was supposed to and on schedule, but on the way home from work, I stopped at grandma's house and she made fresh apple pie, and I caved and I had some apple pie. I want you to be client B, not client A. I want you to be the apple pie client, because I can do something with that client, because they're not going to have apple pie every day. Whereas client A may have lost a pound, may have eaten good yesterday, but they've done nothing that suggests that tomorrow or a week from now, a month from now, or a year from now, anything has changed.
They're white knuckling it.
White knuckling it. Exactly.
Yeah, they're just like, I'm doing the things, just barely.
But I did them. For one day.
It won't last. And speed is king. Speed is king. And that's what, and essentially, when you are working with a professional coach, that is what they're there to teach you. To say, no, don't do it that way, because the way you're doing it might not be quote unquote wrong, but we've watched hundreds, thousands of people try to fit this into a backed lifestyle. And we know it has to be quick and convenient. And if it's not, you won't stick with it. So speed is king. And there are so many little lifestyle tricks and tips that, of course, we can't get into right now. We don't have the time. But Diane and Amanda, try it. Just lunches and snacks. Try it for 1 week. Don't make one at a time. Make about 3 at a time. 3 lunches, 3 snacks. Even if you work from home. I hear that a lot. Well, I work from home, so I don't need to prepare in advance. Still prepare it in advance. Put it in the fridge. Have it ready to go. You will be amazed. You're going to see more progress in that next week, I bet, than you've seen in the last 2 or 3 months.
And I think they need to view it like time shifting. Like it feels like it's a daunting task, and it can be, but like once you do it, now you're done, and you don't have to mess with anything for the week. When you come home from work, you just grab the thing and heat it up. And it takes you 5 minutes to make a dinner instead of 40 minutes.
Now you don't have to think about it till next weekend.
Yeah.
Or whenever you do your meal prep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely a lot of my executives, they're all about bottom line. Well, I can't invest that time. Like, well, let's do the math.
Yeah.
Let's do the math, Eddie. What did you do for lunch yesterday? Oh, I went to, okay, wait. I'm going to stop you there. What time did you get in your car? How long did it take you to drive there and order and eat and come back? And now let's compare that against your food prep. You will see.
Yeah.
So it's always a winning equation there, but I have clients tell me all the time, oh my gosh, Angela, the first time I food prepped, it took me 50 minutes to do my food prep. I said, that's normal because you're inexperienced at it. You haven't been doing it for weeks or months.
Yeah.
Give it a few weeks. You're going to have that 50-minute process down to 10 minutes.
It's like when you buy your house, the first time you cut your grass, it's like 2 hours. You're just like, do I start over here? Do I start over there?
Yeah.
And then once you've lived there for a few months,
You have all the shortcuts down. You know all the things.
You get down to like 35 minutes. Boom, done. And you're like, I didn't even get a chance to finish my podcast. Now then you're like, well, maybe I'll weed eat. I don't know.
Tom, it's like shaving. If I only do it once a month, it's an ordeal. But if I shave every day, it's not too bad.
That's right. That's right.
I do that with haircuts. I just got them all at once in my 30s, and I'm done now.
You and me both, buddy.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful advice. And if people would like tips like this tailor-made for them, where can they find you?
metpro.co/TCO. Come talk to us.
Thank you.
Peloton Celebrity Sightings.
So we talked last week about how DJ Khaled was digging his Peloton tread, and I guess he posted a video to the gram.
I think it was TikTok, but
was
whatever.
it? Oh, okay. Sorry, it's
Same
all
difference these days.
Friendster, showing off his moves on the tread and almost wiped out.
He did.
He came real close.
He did. I would never, like, just to be clear though, like I would never, ever, ever have the confidence to even try the shit he was doing.
Yeah. He was like a poor man's okay go.
It was great. It was great. I love seeing how much fun he was having though. That's what the classes are about.
Totally. Yeah.
That's the joy of Peloton.
But also it's like, these have been recalled because they're dangerous. So
come on,
like,
DJ Khaled, don't make anything bad happen.
Yeah. Like, oh man, don't have them take off the regular tread off the market too.
Again, don't forget it was already off once.
Yeah, touche.
In case you missed it.
Hannah Corbin is back with her country ride.
A happy hour.
There we go.
Yeah, and I think it starts this Friday. So if you download this on Fridays, like our episode, then you will be able to take this class today. And she was asking for people's favorite country stars and artists. And as a side note, Jenn Sherman did her I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where it's like rock the big rock anthem tours. Like that's her series that she's doing.
Sold out
show. Yeah. That's it. I don't
know why I know that.
I don't either, but see, it's pop culture. It's stuck in your head. That's totally tracks for you. But very cool. So this stuff is coming back for the summer. Yeah. I hope they bring back the Yacht Rock. Speaking of Yacht Rock, don't forget October we have the
you
clip
can go
out.
See a collection of Yacht Rock classics with us at the Family Arena, which is where I work. And it's we have a private suite, and there'll be some food there, and it's reasonably priced. It's like $90 a person, and it features Orleans, Firefall, The Babies, John Ford Coley, and Walter Egan, and Peter Beckett from Player. So
baby, come back.
If you want to hang out with us in the St. Louis area, we'd love to see you. So you can get information on that in the Clip Out group. And there's also a link in the newsletter that I'll be sending out on Sunday. And you can just click on there and get all the info.
Yep.
And also, there was a Peloton apparel drop.
There was. I got to say, people are just not excited anymore.
Well, I think they're so frequent now. Like, it used to be like how much anticipation there was around apparel drops, and now it's just a steady stream of new clothes.
I know. I was surprised too with Pride only being 3 items. I was kind of like, oh, well, then I guess all of our stuff will start having fewer items. But no.
Yeah.
No, this one had plenty. Although nothing really stood out to me as like gotta haves. But again, as we've talked about a million times, they should not all appeal to me.
Totally.
Like, there should be a good variety.
Like the classes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Peloton birthdays.
And finally, we have one birthday coming up this week on June 8th. Cody Rigsby.
Happy birthday to Cody Rigsby. Make sure you go tell him to keep sizzling or something like that.
Something like that.
He'll enjoy it.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Mark Steinis. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
It's so nice to connect with some Midwestern roots.
Yeah.
Being out here in Los Angeles, that's my home. My peeps are back there. Man.
It's funny. People that like move to LA or New York, they're like, it's nice to connect with my Midwestern roots, but nobody's ever like, I mean, not enough to go back. But like, I'm not going to buy a house there or anything. But like, if I meet somebody in passing, I'll be a little nicer to them.
I'll tell you straight up, my wife just came back from her class reunion at Ohio Wesleyan.
Really?
And they had a blast. And she's like, oh, babe, it's so awesome. We slept in this barn that we rented that's fixed up. It was wonderful. And the people are so nice. And I had a whole meal, and including the tip, it was $11. And it was great. And I go, so you're telling me you want to move? No, I don't want to move back there.
Don't get crazy.
Yeah. Come on,
that's the problem we run into when we think about like maybe we should move when the kids are older, and and it's just like, and then you see how much it costs in other cities compared to here, and I'm like, I think we just need to start thinking of Missouri like we live in a third world country, like when people move to like Costa Rica because it's so much cheaper for the retirement, like that's going to be Missouri for us.
Yeah. I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I lived there, so I loved it. And in fact, my wife just asked me about coming to Lake of the Ozarks with the people she reunited with. Are thinking about now. They've all connected again. She played soccer there, and a bunch of her teammates and friends are like, "We need to do this every year." So they wanted to go to Lake of the Ozarks. And I'm like, "Oh, I know people there."
Yeah.
So,
well, if they want to open a casino there, don't fall for it.
Right.
Run.
That's okay. It's not really filmed here. It's all right. It's all
filmed in Georgia.
I know.
He's like, I know all about the TV trends.
Well, Runa, I have yet to watch the last part of that. My wife has watched the final episodes, but I have yet to see that because I've been busy working on a project.
By the way, I have, before you say the rest of that, I have to interject and just explain to me, this is like, you both watch the show, but you don't watch it together.
How is that? Like, we would get in fights at our house. Like, I don't know.
To a relationship.
Yeah. How do you guys navigate that?
I think it would be easier to just like have sex with other people. It is LA though. Who knows?
It's called, right. whatever happens out here stays out here. I guess.
Crazy LA.
You know what?
people.
It's called duct tape over the mouth. She doesn't talk. No, she's pretty good. She can.
I hope we're talking about the TV show. She loves it. I love the show. I just made it. She knows that I was going to bed super early. Believe it or not, I wouldn't stay up because by the time we have a 4-year-old and a 20-year-old, so we've got this scope. 2 from my previous marriage, and then we have this little daughter. So by the time she gets to bed, we're exhausted. You know, we're like, oh. And then I've been getting up at like 3:30 or 4 just to get to work when the house is quiet.
Yeah,
the bones are still. And I can think and do my thing. So I would just pass out and not get to watch it. I'll probably catch up on it here in the next week or so.
I'll be curious of your reaction.
Yeah.
To the end. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay. Yeah, she's not said a word. She hasn't even said like, "Wait till you see," or Seinfeld. Whatever.
No comment. I know we've got people listening who would kill me if I said anything.
Yes.
When we have enough issues with spoilers. So.
Oh yeah. No spoilers. No spoilers. Yeah, there were many times when I was at Entertainment Tonight. There were many times when I would be on a set. I remember I was in Rome doing something. Ron Howard, Brian Grazer. What is the book?
Da Vinci Code.
Sorry,
Da Vinci Code movie.
Yes, thank you so much. So much stuff crammed in here. I'm an avid photographer, so I was taking pictures on the set, and they came over and they're like, "You can't post those. You can't use those. You have no permission." And I'm like, "Well, I guess they're just going to sit on my hard drive until I die, and somebody will come and find them and be like, look at this."
What are you going to spoil? It's a book. It's already out.
Yeah. I know. True. Good point. Huh?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I didn't even think about that. Huh.
Yeah, there's because you witness all this stuff that's going on, and you cannot say anything.
Like you would think after the movie's been released, it would be okay, but no.
Well, I suppose I could probably do something now with it, but who cares? Like,
Now it's old news.
Now it's like, what? Who cares? That was, I can watch that. But it was some of the stuff we shot in this library where the books. It was interesting because there's a scene in there where they're in this like 2-story library, and the books were so old. The paper was like could just go bust like that. So they had these big bright lights, right, for filming, and they're hot. So they had extreme precaution. They put blankets up around areas
really
to prevent it from.
I just assumed that they brought in a bunch of fake books.
That's what I thought too.
Oh no, it was true, authentic. We went down actually in. Gosh, you guys are catching me off guard. I would have done my homework. What is the
catacombs?
The thing that goes super fast underneath the two countries.
Bullet train.
The tunnel.
But it's at the very beginning of the Da Vinci Code, and it's like where they change the electrons or something. But anyway, we went down deep inside, and in this tunnel, and it was all secret, and you could see this process happen. And it was again, it's all like top secret. In fact, somebody's going to show up and come in here any minute, take me out.
Well, finish telling us about it real quick before they get here.
Yeah, totally. Clock's ticking.
I wasn't prepared. I would have like shown you on my phone. See this? It's been a moment since I was there 17 years, but it's been a moment. So, but I do have plenty of stories and memories. But it was interesting to be in Rome, the Vatican, and doing that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It does.
Yeah.
What a life. Yeah. So how did you get from Missouri to doing all that? Or I'm sorry, Iowa, the Midwest. How did you get to do all these fun things?
How do you go from, my dad worked at John Deere for many, many years. My mom cleaned houses,
And John Deere's known as a pipeline to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got lost in a cornfield and I was like, what? What's this? Looks like an ocean.
It's a big cornfield.
I was like one of the children of the corn and I just got out,
So, Yeah, we haven't asked you a thing about Peloton. My
Yeah, we
bad.
should probably do
How?
that.
Sure.
You told. Yeah, I know, right? You mentioned that you were an OG. So when exactly did you get your bike? This is kind of a crazy story.
Yeah, let's see. So we will be married 6 years this August.
You married your
20th.
bike? I don't.
Yes.
I know we're not supposed to judge other people's
No, I'm telling you.
lifestyles, but that seems weird.
Tom, look at me. It's LA.
Okay.
Do a lot out of it. Okay.
Whatever
I
makes you
just
happy.
don't know that the bike can give consent.
Oh, it didn't have to. I just been canceled. Yeah, just been canceled. No, my wife and I, you silly goose.
Oh, it's polyamorous.
Stop it.
They both
Tom.
married the bike.
Stop it.
The day after we got married, I'm laying on the couch, a little hung up. We got married in our backyard. We had a big surprise wedding kind of thing. And the doorbell rings and I'm like, oh, can you get that? I'm a little hungover. And she's like, I think it's for you. And I'm like, what? And I go there and there's two guys standing with the Peloton. And I was like, oh my God. I had seen the bike and I can't remember where and how I saw either an advertisement or something like that. But from that point on, so it'll be 6 years this August 21st.
Wow.
That I'll have my bike. And, I love it. I have probably sold 20 of them by word of mouth, just by my, people are with this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they're crazy.
Somewhat familiar.
And I am my Kevin Frazier, my co-host, who stepped into my shoes at Entertainment Tonight, has one. Debbie Metanopoulos, who co-hosted with me on Home and Family, has one. I'm not sure if Lisa Gibbons has one or not. But there's so many people that in my world, even some family members, it's a remarkable. My hair and makeup team that I worked with got them, and it's just because I wouldn't shut up about it.
I do know that feeling.
Buy it, please, just so he shuts
You know
his
that
mouth.
feeling.
I do know that feeling because you started this podcast because I would not shut up.
Right.
You've been trying to shut her up this whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. Not very good at it.
He
But
thought
you
it
don't
would
ride
get
though, do you, Tom? You don't ride, do you?
I
doesn't
don't.
right at all.
I don't get that. My wife doesn't ride. She does all the yoga stuff that's on there and core strength. I do the core stuff as well, and I'll do some of the stretching and flexibility stuff. But she's relentless with the yoga thing, that's hers. So it's a great platform for a variety of things.
It is.
It
And
is.
so many people don't know that Peloton is more than a bike. Like so many people don't realize that it's not like the word Peloton is not synonymous with the bike, and that is all that it does. And
Right.
I think that that's a real area of opportunity for Peloton to educate people that they are more than the bike and that they do a lot more. I think they need to get that word out there a lot more than they have.
Yeah. So at the risk of crossing, into other products, I was approached a while ago by Beachbody to do their 10-minute trainer. And I was a spokesperson for them. And I was trained by actually Tony Horton's ghost trainer, Michael Karpenko. Michael's still a friend of mine today. And I mentioned to him about, I'm loving my bike, my whole thing. And he goes, oh, they contacted me to do an infomercial when they first launched. And he sent me pictures of the actual prototype before this bike.
That's cool.
He still had them. He's like, check out what they were going to, what the ones they were looking at going through. Because I didn't know how they were going to launch, if they were going to do it through some sort of infomercial or whatever. But with that said, I mean, Beachbody did wonders for, the way they spread their wings and come out with all these different products. And I haven't switched or gone back to that, but I do share that feeling like there's so much there on that app to use and get after. So one of the things that I enjoy doing, when playing football, I blew out my left knee. I had back surgery, but my left knee's given me a few issues, so I can't run. So, but just going outside and going for a good walk, and then being able to take, because I had a tread, not the Peloton, but a tread, and I got rid of it just for space reasons and whatever. And we live in LA, so there's never a bad day to go walking.
So
I could, I want to take some of
unless
those.
it's all on fire.
That's true. That's
Yes.
true. There's that.
That is true. That's a good point. Where some of it is on fire right now.
Yeah.
Is it really? God, is it ever not on fire? Sadly.
I don't know. And now we're facing starting June 1st, our water supply. We can water our yards once a week.
Yikes.
Maybe twice. I don't know, but it's getting really, really bad. So, we're in that drought. It's just and then the fires will happen. And the other thing that's happening out here, I don't know if it's happening where you guys are, but
not much is
people are
happening.
getting their catalytic converters ripped off their cars.
What?
Is that happening there where you guys
It
are?
happened. Yeah, it happened.
It has?
Yeah.
Where? What is?
Yeah.
Why would people
The
do
precious
that?
metals.
The metal
And
in
they'll
it.
take them out in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I watched a guy do it on a home security camera. A guy posted it on Nextdoor app and it was just gone.
How do they get
So
under your
they-
car? Like, I mean,
It's under your car. They get on.
but I mean, like, do they just use those little dollies, those little automotive dollies? Because you have to like jack the car up. Do they jack the car up? Like,
No, they slide right underneath it. They have
Really?
a sawzall and they just cut it right out. Some people are building little cages. There's some devices that will help lock it in place. But from what I understand is once you put a new one on, it has a VIN number on it. So you have to go back to the DMV and get that VIN number registered with your car. And it's a pain in the butt to do.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
In 4 minutes, it could be, gone. So we deal with stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
But it's sunny and 75.
Yeah, we can't say
And I
that
sit
here.
in here on a bicycle. How's that?
Here it can be 75 and somehow still 100.
Yeah.
Like
It did that last week. It was
Yeah.
like the high was like 95 and it felt like a billion degrees. Today it was 80 and it was beautiful outside. It's just so weird how the humidity can like fluctuate so crazily here. It's just crazy.
I should say this. I rode this bike across country,
What?
but of course I didn't move an inch, but I was going through a really weird health period where I was diagnosed with polymalacia rheumatica. If anybody knows what that is.
No, never heard of
I didn't know what it was. It's really rare. And you're put on prednisone. And I was on prednisone for 19 months.
Oh my
dealing with it.
gosh.
So, and there were some things along the way because I was diagnosed just before the Rose Parade started, and I couldn't. What it does is basically it's inflammation in your body, and you can't bend your elbows. Your whole body just can't move at all. And the prednisone clears that up right away. But of course, there's the moon face that goes along with it. So I was doing everything I could to keep the weight off, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to ride every day as far as I can. And I was like, well, my wife's from Boston. And I always dreamt about riding I have a regular bike as well to like ride across the country. I want to always do RAGBRAI from my state back in Iowa.
Yeah.
And I've never had a chance to go. I've had chances. I just haven't gone because it's done in July and nobody wants to go to Iowa in July. So, but I managed to like just accumulate enough miles. I think it was just over 3,000 miles. So I was there and came back a little bit. So that was a goal that was kind of a weird thing to set up for myself, but I would just log in the miles. And during that time, I ended up losing my hip. So I had to have hip replacement. So this bike has like helped me come back from a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
So you did your rehab for your hip whenever on the bike? Could you do the rehab there?
I had 12 weeks of rehab, and I would come back and the procedure for the hip is remarkably, I won't say easy, but I went in at 7.
Mm-hmm.
They put me out at 7:20, and a little after 11 o'clock, I walked through my front door.
What?
Wow.
And I was on pain.
You walked?
Yeah, with a walker. I have a video of it. And
But Ron Howard won't let you show it to people.
Yes, exactly. I can't. Right? It's like
those NDAs they're
Very specific.
It's like the footage of the moon. Did it really happen, right?
It's all Stanley Kubrick. Everybody knows that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was, and this helped bring back. You know what? The thing that really hurt, which laid me up for a while. After the 12 weeks of that, it turned out I needed to have carpal tunnel in both wrists.
What?
So I could not put weight on the handlebars.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was an issue. So
how did you get carpal tunnel? The carpal tunnel. That's normally like something a checker at a grocery store gets.
Or
I
like
say that,
typing all day.
Yeah, or a teenage boy.
it's the last one, Tom. You nailed it.
Yeah. It's the law of threes. It's real punchline.
Yeah, right. You tiptoed right up to it, and then boom. I don't know, because I'm still dealing. And again, I don't know if it's part of the polymalacia rheumatica, but I'm still like, I'll get cortisone shots in 2 fingers and this finger here, because I get trigger finger. They'll just lock up. I'm like,
wow.
So but it doesn't. There's only a few things that keep me off my bike. It's like a Burt Reynolds. I only take this cowboy hat off for one thing. Reference from Smokey and the Bandit, in case nobody knows what that's from.
No, I knew exactly what that was from. I have an autographed picture of Burt Reynolds from Smokey and the Bandit hanging on the wall of our living room.
He does.
So, for real.
You say it with pride.
Yeah,
He says it with such pride.
It's the class. We were at Comic-Con and it was on sale. This was like 8 months before he died, and it was like $200 framed, and I was like, that dude's not going to be alive much longer. And when he goes,
he totally said this. This is exactly how this conversation went.
And I was like, and that's the image. I'm like, when he dies,
that's the one.
That's going to be the clip they show in the in memoriam at the Oscars, and it's the one of him in the red shirt behind the wheel of the car, where he looks straight at the camera and just gives you that Burt Reynolds smirk. And I was like, and I was like, done. I'll take it. So, and then he died like 8 months later, and we went back the next year, and similar pictures were going for like $900 and $1,000. And I was
you should put that up and see what you could get for it.
Now I like having it. Because Smokey and the Bandit is awesome.
He loves his autographs.
And I love my 70s pop culture.
He does. Yeah. He does. It
you
hits
do?
all the box.
Oh, wow.
So much.
Yeah.
So much. Every single thing we ever talk about always comes back to pop culture. He will manage to put it into a TV show every single time.
Is that right?
I am fighting the urge to tell you the story of the making of Smokey and the Bandit 3 right now. It's a fascinating story.
Go for it, Tom. He's interested.
So it was originally called Smokey is the Bandit because Burt Reynolds isn't in it. And the plot of the movie was that Jackie Gleason dresses up as Bandit and makes the run. And then it was so bad, they hid the fact that they made it. And they hired Jerry Reed to come in and film other scenes that they could drop in to try to make it better, and it didn't. And they did, and like the existence of this film was apocryphal for like 25 years until somebody finally found a teaser trailer of Jackie Gleason promoting not Smokey and the Bandit 3, but Smokey is the Bandit. That was the original title of the third one.
Wow. I'm just watching the counter on the wall, how many people are clicking out right now.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
No, I love that kind of stuff. I just did a show on Access TV, not Access Hollywood, but the one that Mark Cuban used to have. And it's the very, very best of the 80s. And, it's just reflecting upon, it was actually Children of the Corn, some of the horror movies that they had, but we've done some of this night of the 70s.
Tom would be excellent at hosting something like that, or like being the guy that like explains the stuff like he just did, because he does this all the time. Like I'm always telling him he should be like a movie, like a professor at a college, like teaching movie stuff to colleges.
I will spin out like the other day I spent 20 minutes teaching my son about the Rural Purge, which is when CBS canceled all of its country themed shows. So they got rid of Mayberry RFD and Green Acres and Petticoat Junction and Beverly Hillbillies. They canceled them all at the same time, even though they were giant hits, because they were just like, we don't like these shows, make them go away.
Really?
And so, yeah. And so I was explaining how they canceled all those, and then it led to Mary Tyler Moore and Bob Newhart, and that's what they put in its place, All in the Family.
See, he needs an outlet for this.
Then it was like Murder, She Wrote, and then at that point it was everybody over 95.
Correct. Yes. They targeted that same demo, and they just kept targeting them until death. Yeah. And then there's a Murder, She Wrote. Of course, my theory for Murder, She Wrote is that Jessica Fletcher is actually a serial killer, and that she's the person who's killed all of these people, and then she then swoops in and saves the day by finding the murderer. Because, I mean, she's been at the scene of like 300 murders. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
We need a Dateline to investigate that.
Wouldn't that be a great...
Yeah. We could put her under the scope.
Yes. The clock's ticking.
Right?
Yeah.
You get an autographed picture of her, like, you know.
I can't believe you know all those shows.
He knows
like,
everything, all of the shows, every single show.
I can
really.
Yes, it's all in there.
When I was a kid, I had a book. I still have the book. I found it the other day. I showed it to Crystal. It's called The Great Sitcom Book, and it's like that thick, and it's like really big. It's like a phone book, and it listed every sitcom and had an article about every sitcom ever made from like 1951 until 1984, which is the year I got the book. And like I Love Lucy might get 8 pages, but like Please Don't Eat the Daisies might get like a paragraph, right? But I read that book cover to cover multiple times when I was a kid because I was weird.
You know, I don't know if Crystal knows this, but the phrase "jump the shark."
Yes.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Do you know where that came from?
Happy Days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know that because of Tom.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Well, at least you're educating her, right?
Yeah, I do what I can. I educate or bore. It's a thin line.
It depends on the day.
Yeah. So
sometimes we'll be in the
walking
middle.
away when you're saying these things to her, and you're like,
well,
"Jump the shark means," you know.
Well, it's funny because sometimes we'll be in the middle of recording the news segment of the show, and I'll be like trying to get through the actual news, and Tom's over there just.
Well, early in the run of the show, remember, I went on a thing about the history of the Today Show and J. Fred Muggs.
Yes.
And like people were like, "What? A monkey used to host the Today Show?" And in my head, I'm like, "How do you not know a monkey used to host the Today Show? How could you ever forget that a monkey hosted the Today Show? How did America forget that?"
Okay, so I'm curious, when you talked about Peloton and you said that you used to host the Rose, it was the Rose Parade?
Rose Parade.
Okay.
Yeah, Tournament of Roses.
For some reason, I was getting that mixed up with the Rose Bowl, and I was like, is that the same thing? And then I got concerned. I was saying it wrong. But you mentioned that you get up at like you got up at 1:30 in the morning to ride.
Yeah,
before.
I still do.
You do?
I still hosted. We're going into Lisa and I took over 7 years ago, I think, 8 years ago.
But you still get up at 1:30 in the morning to ride?
Yeah, because we start early. Like they send a driver to pick you up, not because they want to be nice. They just want to make sure your butt gets to the parade on time.
No excuses.
So they want to be like, we're going to make sure a driver's there to get you. So that I get picked up at 4:30, I think. And, it's just a great way to shake the cobwebs out and get blood going. Cause there's so much that happens. It's a 2-hour, I host for KTLA, and then it's seen all over the country. So many markets are picked up by that, or feeds are picked up by that. So there's millions of people around the world who tune in, and we are commercial free.
Oh,
so there is no break. And we're way up high. So if you have to go, you're done. Like, just go in your pants. So you really have to limit, you really have to limit your coffee intake. But I'll come here, and it's funny because, as I mentioned, I used to take a ride with Jennifer Jacobs when she was there, called Hop for the Teacher, is a Van Halen playlist, which is my generation. And it was a 30-minute ride, and I kept it was just one of those that got me going in the morning. And I would show up and be like, "Hello, everybody." And they're like, "Hi." I'm like, "I don't know. I just had a day with Peloton this morning." So, and then I kept thinking, I get up at 1:30. I take the ride probably about 2:30 because of the, I'll wake up a little bit, but people are still coming home from New Year's Eve.
Oh my gosh.
And they're this is a studio garage area that I have, and I'm sure they're just like, "Wow, that's Van Halen coming out of that dude. They're partying in there." Yeah, that's my wake up call. I love it. It's it's just a way that I've been doing this job for so long, and it's just a way to get yourself in a performance mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a class that's kind of replaced that like I realize doesn't necessarily have the same music, but has the same motivational factor for you?
I will say Sam Yo did an amazing AC/DC ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll probably replace that this year. I missed it last year because I was just coming off of a horrible year of injuries and everything. So, but yeah, Sam will do it. But like Emma's I love watching her, taking her rides. Love watching her. Just
she got canceled again. You had a good run. It was like 4 minutes.
Yeah. Damn it. You took me out of the. No, I mean, the whole tribe is great. I mean, from Denis and Matt Wilp, and I love the inspiration. Robin Arzon, am I saying it right? Arzon?
Yeah,
Arzon?
yeah, you are.
Arzon. There's so many nuggets of positivity that come when you take a ride, and I'm so competitive. I don't know how you are with yours, but I need to take my FTP test again. Because I just can't stay. When I did the endurance ride, I just can't stay in the zone. Same with the other ones. I'm like, oh, but I'm proud to say this, and it probably sounds braggarty of me, but I'm constantly in the anywhere from like a top 0.8% to the top 5%.
Wow.
Finishes.
Nice.
Because former athlete, I just every day want to show up and get after it. But
that's
most
the cool
of my rides
thing.
are longer. Yeah.
I feel like that's what's cool about Peloton is that it meets you where you are. So for you, that's important to you. But like for somebody like me, I will never be at the top, like ever. It will never happen. And like I've made my peace with that. And I'm honestly, that's why I focus so much on finding rides that are fun. Like they make me want to come back and do it again. That's where I am. And so it's cool that it can do that for both of us, right? That you can have your like really competitive ride, and I'm just like, close the leaderboard.
Yeah, no, I do it because I'm fighting age, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting alert. I'm not slowing down. And that's just the way I am. I will not let you defeat me. Yeah, and it does, and I'm also an endorphin junkie. I just, I've run marathons, I've done triathlon stuff before, and I just love what the feeling is like when you get off of the bike and there's a good, just a good feeling.
Yeah.
My concern is self-care because, I got off the bike just before coming here, but my daughter wanted to jump in the pool, so I'm in the pool and I didn't stretch.
Oh.
So I have to when we're done, I'll stretch a little bit, and you just got to take care of this. The older we get, the mobility issues.
Yes. Yes.
So.
I tell Tom about that all the time because he does tonal and he doesn't stretch after. He stretches before. He does the little warm up that they do, but he doesn't stretch after. And
I am bad about that.
Gotta stretch, man. Gotta stretch. So.
Yeah, I know. It's part of the, and then I see my wife all bendy.
That's why you picked her. We were kidding.
Right, exactly. I'll watch her do yoga and I'm like going, maybe.
You're like, I think I would like to stretch now. Now you know how to get me to stretch, huh?
Noted.
You gotta come downstairs at the end of my workouts. See, I don't like working out. I still don't like it. Everybody talks about endorphins. I think I don't have them because I don't feel that way at all when I'm done. I'm just like, thank God that's over.
He does. It's been like almost 2 years and he's still like this. So I don't know.
Really?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It is, for me, it is completely transactional. I am doing this because people that are smarter than me say that it will, maybe I'll live longer. And I guess I'll trust them because they're doctors and I got a mass communications degree at 45. So I know what I don't know. So I guess I'll do this now. But I still enjoy none of it. Like at no point am I like, I feel really like I'm glad that I'm glad that it's like cutting the grass. I'm glad that it happened, but I would pay someone else to do it if I could.
And this is how he is every time he works out.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's good to know that. It's good to know, what you like and what you don't like. I think it's important, though, to take care of your health, to, watch what you eat. In your case, don't eat fruit, vegetables, seafood. My wife is so down with, and not that she's like, oh, I don't want to do that, but she doesn't know like red meat or anything like that. She's pretty much plant-based.
Yeah.
And we've tried some of the rrestaurants and they're really good. Some of the plant-based meals.
Yes, that is another thing about LA that you have that is
we
much better selection.
They're not legal here. They actually, they're
not true.
They actually have
I don't want to be added.
Right.
Just at Tom,
Sir,
not me.
Sir, please step out of the car.
Right.
Is that a plant-based burger you're eating?
Yes. I don't know how this kale got here, officer. I'm just holding it for a friend.
But you guys have way better selection of things like that. Like just across the board, you do. Like it's so much better selection. So
we really, we're fortunate in many ways. It's a crazy expensive though, because they know they got you by the nads.
Yeah.
When they're just like, oh, you want to eat healthy, huh? You want to live longer? Well, you'll be broke.
Pick your poison.
Yeah, that's part of it. So
what is your leaderboard name?
Just a first initial, last name, M. Steinis.
Okay. I guess I should have asked. It's okay if we tell people?
Of course.
Okay.
Try to keep up, I dare you.
Yeah, no kidding, right? They're like, come at me, bro.
I actually had somebody, when I rode, there was somebody that was really like, of course he was 30. And I'm like trying to keep up with him, but he was just touch and go. It's fun when you have an active leaderboard. Normally the classes I take are on demand. But by the way, I'm also, and this is weird because I've had my bike for so long, I haven't reached my 1,000 rides yet, partially because I don't need a million excuses, but I do a lot longer rides than I typically, people can get there doing shorter rides, 10 minutes or 20-minute ride. But I don't know who I want to take for that 1,000 ride though.
Ooh,
that's where I'm kind of like.
That's tough. That's a really tough one.
Yeah. I have to, and I hope to get a shout out. Because that would be cool to take your 1,000th ride and have.
I feel like that's one that should be like required. If you have 1,000 or 2,000 or any 1,000, you should be.
Yeah, people would just start gaming the system.
I know.
They'd start.
They already do.
Yeah. But if you promised them something, then they would definitely.
You're right.
They would definitely game the system.
There's one song that I want to request. I don't know if people would. I don't think people would be put off by it. Allie Love might do it because I know she does a lot of uplifting sort of classes, but there's Tom, you may know this, Kirk Franklin and the song's Revolution.
I'm not really a gospel guy.
So. Yeah, it's a really it's an amazing high energy song that I think would be a really good. So I don't know a lot of his catalog, but that particular song is such a great song, and I think it would probably get some good responses. It's old school, but it's still good. So I may send it in as a request and see if they can fit it in somewhere, because it would be fun to ride to it.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think Cliff Dwinger, I'm not sure how to say his name because it's German and I'm probably butchering it.
Yeah.
But he does gospel rides on Sundays, and sometimes, and it's not like Sundays with Love where that happens in a season and it's regular basis. But he does. He has done gospel rides, so that might be another alley for you, like another avenue.
Yeah, I was like,
another alley if alley doesn't work out.
I think that's part of it too. Maybe I do so well because I'm always looking for the playlist.
Yeah.
That, is from the 70s, and everybody's my age.
Freedom rock, dude.
But, no, I did take the one, it was a rap song, but it was one, I saw ESPN did an article and they were talking about, oh shoot, because I don't take a lot of his classes because I'm not big into the rap stuff. But
like Alex, is it Alex?
Tucson, yeah, Alex. But there was some like football players that did it, and I was like, all right, let me just see. And I actually surprisingly did really well in the class.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, because they were talking about how athletes, some football players are using this and where they stand, and how Alex is just thumping them or whatever. And so I jumped on and took his class. That guy's got a voice that is unreal.
He does. He does. It's a great voice.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how competitive you are. Are you the guy that during the cool down you keep going? Are you the guy that like some people are like having like they were beating you and then all of a sudden that last minute of class you come flying by them? Are you that guy?
Before I answer, Tom, is she going to judge me?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to judge because I'm not at the top either way. Remember, I'm at the bottom.
But by asking that question, you've answered it.
I will tell you this. This is my theory on the cool down.
Okay.
Is whatever my average output is, that's where I'll stay for the cool down, because I always have a cool down afterwards.
See, I think that's a totally reasonable answer. Legit. I really do.
I don't necessarily try harder. I just go like, look, because I like to know, like, I don't want to see points drop off my output. I just would like to keep it there. So I'll stay right at the output or close to it. So, so the answer is, I guess so.
He's like kind of.
But I mean, I think it's reasonable because you're doing an actual cool down afterwards. So I think that's reasonable. And honestly, I wouldn't judge anybody either way. I just know people get really upset about it because I see it on the OPP when they're like, who are these people? This is my everybody voice. They get very upset. Who are these people that during the last minute of the cool down, they just got to go beat me? Like, what does that prove? What does that prove? Like, they get really mad about it. And then you have the people that jump in and they're like, get over yourself. Like, why do you care so much? And then it turns into what it always turns into on Facebook.
I will say this. I was taught early on when I was doing the stuff with Michael Karpenko, a trainer. He's like, if you can do anything to hold yourself accountable, do it. And so I share my results and I always try to put something positive with it, but I do share because even if I have a sucky ride, I'll be like, man, the legs just weren't there today. Or I haven't been eating, well or whatnot, because you're at least sharing that and putting it out there and letting other people know, like, look, you're doing this. And, I'm showing up. I'm just showing up. And that's the part of it is just get your clothes on to work out, and the rest is cake. But that's the hard part, is sometimes just showing up for it. So I used to be a gym rat all the time, take classes and all that. Here, drive to Gold's Gym, whatever, find parking at Spectrum, whatever it was, and then you're paying and all this. You get there and somebody's on the weight machine. I walk down from my house, I get on the bike. I have an elliptical here if I want to do that. I've got resistance bands. I do everything here. And I don't have to go get in a car and go drive and park somewhere. There's no reason you can't, other than, you're just lazy. And then you have to face that. But
then that's something. Yeah,
that's part of it. Like we've created a space here that this also substitutes. My boys are, it is a garage, so they have a garage band. So they're down here with their instruments, recording stuff all the time, doing things. And, it's also a tinkering garage space. So we do it, but this is like where I come to sweat. And I think it's important to have a little sacred space in your home, whether it's yoga and stretching or meditating or whatever, but it's your little cubby to go to find a place to either center yourself or stretch or beat yourself up like I do. I came from that philosophy, no pain, no gain. And, I'll be 58 in about 2 weeks. So I don't want to admit that that's old. So many people are like, oh, getting up there. But I just don't. I still feel, yes, I have aches and pains and there's certain things I can't do. But like I told my wife, hey, my left hip is a lot younger than you. So, because my wife is quite a bit younger, actually. She's 15 years younger than I am. So we have that difference, by the way. Like I'll mention certain sitcoms and she's like, what?
Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah,
She doesn't remember a time before DVRs. Yeah.
Yeah. Like she would tell me, she was looking at pictures the other day and she goes, oh, because she's a neat freak now, but she goes, look how dirty my bedroom was in this picture when I was growing up. Oh, see that TV? I go, yeah. She goes, that's the one I grew up watching you on.
Oh, that's a Dave Reiner.
Yep. And it was like this big too. It was like one of those little one tubes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta look great on that one.
Well, clearly she thought so.
Yeah. She was like, thank God they didn't have HD yet.
She was the one who asked me out for the record, just so you know. So it was interesting. But
that's the same with us.
Yeah, I did ask you out. Yeah. We only have an 8-year difference in our relationship, but and we met online. And so I found him on Match.com, and he had this really hilarious thing that he had written about the difference between a woman being hot and cute, and it made me laugh, and I was like, oh, I like you.
And the premise is that cute is preferable.
Yes, it was, which didn't hurt, since I have never felt like the person who would be described as hot. So I was like, okay, so he's not a jerk either. That's nice.
I can't imagine you writing anything funny, Tom.
I get that a lot.
I guess technically we met online because Julie sent me an email asking me out. Because she was a guest on Home and Family, a show that I did after Left Entertainment Tonight. And she came on, and she has, if you have a chance, you have to look up her therapy dog. Norbert he's the cutest little thing, but he has 2 million followers. Aww. And she came on, they did a series of books. Her and her mom have a publishing company. They publish their own books, and they were awarded, they were given some kind of high honor award or whatever. So she came on talking about the books, for kids or whatever. And they brought Norbert on, and all I know is she got my name because they send out pictures of the the shooting of the show, and she got my email, and she just said, you're not allowed to ask how I got this, but go out to dinner. And she gave me one day, and I was like, I had plans to go to a sushi thing, and I was like, I can't make it, but we ended up. She flew back to Boston, and we stayed in touch. She moved out here and came for a visit. We went to the Hero Dog Awards show, and she extended her stay for like 3 or 4 days, went home, sold her house, moved out here in 10 days.
Wow.
And we were married a year later and pregnant 4 months after that.
Well, so, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it. I knew the minute that she came out here, that I was seeing her, I was like, yeah, this is right.
Oh,
so,
that's awesome.
That is.
Yeah. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
She had no idea what she was getting into.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We have, and raising a family that's as diverse as what we have. And, she's being a mom, for the first time, but also being a stepmom.
Yeah.
Coming in and help raising, at that point, 2 teenage boys.
That's not easy.
Yeah.
No, and she was really, good with it. So
that's awesome.
She was also a nanny at one point. So she had the chops of really being a good listener and, knowing to count to 10. Where she said to me, she's like, I was very angry at my youngest son. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go. And she's like, just hang on. And we were watching a movie, and I couldn't focus on the movie. She goes, when the movie's over, you can then go talk to him. And she made me wait. And by that time, I was able to put things in perspective and have a conversation with him. And sometimes, she brings that sort of calmness.
Yeah. And luckily you were watching Titanic.
So it took a while.
So it was a.
Right. I was like,
had a good.
At least I'm not going down on that.
Right. Yeah. Give you plenty of time.
Right. I could be sinking.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Was she like, do you remember when that happened?
Yeah.
Was that a big story?
Wasn't there a big blimp that caught fire too? Or something? Yes, dear. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. That's so funny.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We've been talking to us forever, and we greatly appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
Sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
I look that as a former talk show host, and I'm usually asking the questions, but it's nice to. You guys are really great. I will say, you have a really nice podcast chemistry, and keep it up. And thanks for having me.
Oh,
thanks for
my
doing
gosh.
it.
Thank you for doing
And
it.
before we let you go, where can people find you?
Yeah.
We always let people do that here.
Well, my home address, my home number is you can. I'm on the socials, Facebook and LinkedIn, and Instagram is usually where you can find me. And it's just my name, Mark Steinis, or M Steinis is usually where you can find it. And you're just going to find a bunch of pictures of probably my daughter at this point, because that's what I'm posting, or my kids, or Norbert. That's it. Thank you for the opportunity, though.
Thank you. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank
This
you
was
so much.
a lot of fun.
It was. Thank you.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and anywhere on the Peloton leaderboard. Never know where I'll pop up.
Yeah.
At Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep pedaling
and running.
Clip in.